sunny start to the day. And where are we going today? What I've decided to do today is show you a mark. Again, it's on the North Norfolk coast, and this time it's sandwiched in between Overstrand and Munsley, and it's the Trimingham mark. That's also known locally as Vale Road. So I'm making my way along the coastal road now from Cromer. Been through a few little villages, Overstrand and Sidestrand. I'm now just coming up to get the Trimingham access, and the access road is known as Vale Road. So I'll put a postcode up at the on the description so you can see where this is. Basically what I hope to show you is, as you turn in, what to be careful of when you turn into this little road. It's on a little unmade track, and it's quite bumpy. It's also quite easy to miss, so literally as we come just into the village of Munsley, Vale Road is just on the left here, where this guy is, the little trolley. So on the Munsley sign, you can see the sign there, Vale Road. We now head down this little unmade track. It is best to take it very easy going down here. Now and again they do fill in some of the bigger bumps. It doesn't take long for it to get rutted up again. It's also almost a single track, so you're very liable to meet something coming the other way, so that's something else to watch out for. Once we get around this corner, it opens up onto a slightly better bit of road. So there's an entrance to a campsite here on the right. We're going to take the left fork, and then we get onto a bit more tarmac and onto the actual cliff access road. As you can see, with a bright sunny day like today, it is liable to be a little bit busy. Right, there we go. Doesn't actually look too bad down here where the park is. See, it's got a little bit of a chop on. We've got a fresh easterly wind, and it's showing about 14 miles per hour on the app before I left. So it shouldn't be too bad. As I say, always be a little bit careful coming down this access road. This part on the right with the sand, they had a little bit of a cliff fall there recently, so that's all been reinforced. And people tend not to park on that bit now unless it's really full down the bottom. So if you go right down to the bottom, there's some parking there for the emergency services. You've got to avoid that, you've got to leave that clear. And so basically I should park just this side of the other car there, get some gear on and get sorted out. Okay, so once you leave the car park area, you've got this little slope down onto the beach, and then when you get down to the bottom, you've got the option of taking a set of steps and going down behind the wooden sea fences to your left, or carry on down onto the sand and then head right or left on the beach. As it's not quite high tide, what I should probably do is go down onto the sand and head along the beach, because I'm only going to go up to the second groin, I believe, and I'll fill you in a little bit later about sort of suggested places to go. It's all dependent here on how far you want to walk, basically. So there's reasonable access to the beach. If you don't want to walk too far, you can literally fish at the end of the slope there. I tend to walk a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right, this does get a little bit busy with other people using it. They launch boats and things, kayaks and all that from here. so as not to disturb them, I tend to head left or right. Today I'm going to head left. I'm going to go down to the area which they call like the slide, which is part of a cliff fall from last winter, I believe. We do get quite a bit of them along this bit of coast, some of them bigger than others, and it's something again you have to bear in mind. So when you're on the main beach, there's about an hour and a bit to go to high tide, so I don't think it's going to come right up to the defences today. So you've got the option of going right, and that is towards Munsley, or heading left, which is towards the proper village of Trimingham, because this is sort of halfway in between the two. So what I'm going to do then is head down to the left, get to the mudslide, and I'll bring you back then. Okay, I've made my way down the beach. It's took probably less than 10 minutes, just a very slow plod along the beach. I've come 3 groins to the left of the access ramp, so a little bit more room down here. And also it's worth noting that here a lot of the sea defences, there's big gaps missing, so if you are eventually pushed back from the tide, you've got a little bit further to go. But, and this is a but, depending on what size of the tide is, you are restricted of how far you're going back by this wall. Now, further nearer the slope, and then again past it, you'll see there's a lot more room behind the sea defences than there is here. That's because this was the most recent mudslide at this end, and basically after a long period of wet weather, big chunk of this cliff just slid down, and when it came down, it came right out, and it ended up 50 yards into the water, and it was like a massive great big hump. I think either the sea has cleared some of it, and also they've made a little bit of a walkway behind the back there as well. Now that's been cut out, where it's just people walking or someone come down here and cleared it. But for a while, at certain periods of the tide, with that fall in place, it cut this part of the beach off from the other part. So if you went down there at low tide, you'd be cut off from the car park, if you like, for a couple of hours either side of high tide until it was enough to go back. As I say, they've seemed to have sort of made amends for it now, and there's a little bit of a pathway behind. Still, you're going to get on very high tides the water come up behind there, so you could be in like welly deep water walking back if you come back on high tide. But further down there you go, you've got more room behind you, but there's also less gaps in the sea defences, which means you've either got to climb over them or go through the gaps and feed your gear around, because it's quite a slope. My advice is, if you can, fish in a gap, because then when that tide does push you back, you've got somewhere to go, and it's easy to just move your gear back. So the other thing worth mentioning is, if you come down here night fishing, you know, a lot of people sort of, oh, don't worry about it, but I wouldn't come down here on my own night fishing at night, because you never know when a part of this cliff might fall and whether it might cut you off, or worse still, it might even hit you if you're fishing in front of it. So it's always best to have someone with you if you come down here at night. It's not so bad in the day, because you do have quite a few people around. I'm quite surprised there's not as many people around today as I thought. You're going to get your dog walkers and your hikers and all that sort of thing. But it is a Friday. Weekends obviously be a lot more busy as well. So just a few little points worth bearing in mind if you're going to come down here and fish. So there is actually another angler set up down there in the next bay, and he's fishing level with the sea defences, so say with another hour to go, he's probably expecting that to come up to him. So what I'm going to do now is get some gear together. Sea looks a really nice colour. What are we expecting today? Smoothhounds have been caught here recently, but in the last couple of weeks the reports have gone really slow. So I don't know, there's various theories as to why. People say that they come in massive great packs, clear out all the crabs and the bait on the seabed, then disappear. I think the sea conditions have got a lot to do with it as well, and we've had some rough weather lately. But now it's calmed down enough, it looks really nice. Chance of a bass, I would say, flatfish, probably whiting, probably dogfish. So first thing to do is get some gear ready and get started. Right, everything's set up and ready to go. So today I've decided to use my bigger rods. I'm using my Any Fish Tournament Pros, and I've matched them up with the multipliers today. 15-pound main line, 60-pound shop leaders. Rigs, as usual for me, very simple. I've literally got a short Paternoster on that one, and that's got a pennelled squid at the moment. And on the other rig, I've got a standard pulley pennel, again squid. The reason at the moment they're both on squid is because the other baits haven't defrosted. I've got some sandeels, and I've got some frozen blacks, and I've also got some mackerel and things like that. So I'll get these two out now, see how it goes. They're both armed with 5-ounce leads at the moment. That may be enough today. You don't really know until you've made the first cast. So that's what I'm going to do now, and I'll get back to you as soon as we're fishing. Okay, it's the first two casts out. Put the left one out a little bit further than the right one. They both seem to have held bottom straight away, they're not moving. There's a little bit of tide pull, which is good. It's now a waiting game. Almost at high tide, I would say. Let me just check my phone. I've got an app on here that is quite accurate. And that's providing I can get a signal, because it's once you come down these cliffs it does get a little bit iffy. Now I've got a signal there, that's perfect. And let's just check for this venue. Yeah, it says on here it's 40 minutes till high tide. So yeah, we shouldn't have to move. And then it'll be a case of, once it's been high tide, we're chasing it down onto the sand, away from the stones, see how it goes. By then I should have some sand eels defrosted, so I'll alternate one rod with sand eel, one rod with a squid. I've got a few worms just in case I want to try and scratch something out later on, but that's not really what I want to do. I want to try and catch hounds, and they've been taking the squid here. If you can get fresh or frozen peeler, that does improve your chances a bit, I think, on certain days. but none around at the moment, so I'll just have to make do with the squid. Line on the left hand rod already. There you go. Less than 5 minutes. Take the squid. So hopefully might get a few more of these bad boys today. Maybe the odd bigger one. Let's get him in some water. Well, about an hour's passed now since that first instant fish, which is a bit worrying, and I haven't had a single sign since then. Tide's been to the top, it's now turned, it's on its way out. I prefer to fish this beach on the ebb. I'd like to think that those smooth hounds will come back at some point on the ebb tide. Angler just down there looks like he's got a fish. Yep, he's got a hound down there. So yeah, there's still a few about. I've now got sandeel on one rod and squid on the other. You normally get a dogfish or two in between the hounds, but I shall probably go back to both on squid soon. It's been very strange. I must have almost hit that one smack bang on the head with that cast. It was less than probably, I'd only just got back from the rod rest when it went. So yeah, fingers crossed it bucks its ideas up at some point. I've got an old work colleague, Dan, joining me lunchtime. He's going to come down and give it a go. It was his idea to come here. He couldn't get away from work early enough, so hopefully by the time he gets here that would have picked up again. But seeing that guy there just pull one in means there's still a few about. Do another bait change on that left hand rod and see what happens. bit of green weed on the line, nothing to worry about. Still quite fishable. That can be a problem here. Once that real thick brown stuff turns up, it can be a session finisher, basically. So fingers crossed that doesn't happen today. After a little wait, I've just had hound number 2. Slightly bigger than the other one. Just got it in the water at the moment. Just letting him calm down. I'll get the measure out and have a look at this one. She is. Scissors. Tough old mount on these. You get the hook out easy enough. Get that panel hook out of the way. And keep it between the legs. Tough out. There you go. That's hound number 2. This one, considerably bigger than the other one. That goes 87 on the ruler. So hopefully I might get a few more now. Straight back. On a squid, but with a little bit of worm that I had left over on that one. That's always worth making sure they go back properly when you put them back like that in this surf, because sometimes they'll get washed up again a few yards down the beach, but he seemed to turn around, head straight out. You normally see the fin if they're coming in, back in on the surf, so I can't see nothing, but I will keep checking next few minutes. So, got no rods in the water at the moment. I was just rebaiting the other one when that rod went, and I actually heard the ratchet. So, let's get these rebaited and get them back out. Left hand rod again. got it wrong. It was the left hand rod. I heard the breath. Now the right hand rod's now going as well. There you go. Another little one. I put it in the water. Deal with the right hand rod now. Mayhem. Be extremely careful with. I think she's got pups in there. It's absolute. Look at the thickness of that. So I'm going to be very quick with this. I'm not going to weigh her because I'm pretty sure she's got pups. I'm going to be very gentle with her. Yeah. I'm going to get that hook out and get her back straight away. I don't want to take any risks with that. Lovely fish. I've got to be approaching. Don't know. I've got scales and everything, but as I say, I'm not going to mess about with it. I'm going to get the hook out. Get her away. I don't want to put too much distress on her. Hooks. She's got crabs. Oh, she's got all sorts. What I'm going to do, I'm going to get rid of the junior out of there, just rest her in that water for a bit. She's a bit looking after that one. He's a little bit more hardy. I'll get him back. certainly carrying pups, so I'm going to get her back in and get soaked. Right, I've finally been able to get back to you. I'm on about 8 now. So I've had 3 more smaller ones after that big female. And literally, I've now reduced to 1 rod because they were both going at the same time. I had ratchets set on the reels, and no sooner as I was playing one, I could hear the ratchet going on the other reel. So I've now dropped down to 1 rod. I'm going to bait the other rod up ready, so as soon as I get a fish that can go straight back out. It seems that little period, about 2 hours, an hour and a half, 2 hours down from the top is when they turn up on this beach. Just spoke to another angler, he said the same, 2 hours before, 2 hours after, it's been the prime time. So Dan and his mate have set up just a little bit further up the beach up there, and he's going to try and get his mate his first hound. So fingers crossed that they get that. Can't see why they won't. There's got to be a few out there now. At the rate I've been getting bites. Saying that, I'll probably dry up now, but there you go. I've had no end of trouble getting them back. 2 or 3 times after putting them back, they've ended up back on the beach. So in the end, I've waded out now up to my thighs. I'm completely soaked underneath my trousers. Gone over the top of my boots. Probably waders is probably the best way to go here, I think, when it's like this. So I should be packing them in future. If it's really nice, I normally have just a pair of shorts on and a pair of beach shoes and go in, but it's not quite been that nice lately, but today's the exception. Down to a t-shirt now, first time this year. So yeah, what I'll probably do now is maybe have a couple more, just see if I can get a slightly bigger one, and then start thinking about wrapping up and making tracks. Well, it's certainly been a fun-packed day. When they finally turned up, they came with a vengeance. just put the second rod out again because it's gone a little bit quiet. It's almost as if there was been a pack going through. To have that many hits that quickly, and then for them to stop, they've moved through. So it'd be interesting to see if Dan and his mate in the next groin up start catching if they're going along that beach. Beach is starting to get a little bit busier as well. We've got several dog walkers up there, and there's a few more cars up there in the car park. But what I'm probably going to do, as I said just now, I'll probably try out for one more fish, and then I'll have a slow pack down and make my way back to the car. There is a little matter of the little climb up the steep slope back to the car, but it's very short and very quick. So get it done, get back to the car, get a drink, cool down, then head for home. Now this is going to be my last bite. Just had a few little clicks on the reel. Just wait for that to go again. There it goes. Last one for the day. It's about number 10 or 11. I've had a fantastic day catching these. Wrap up now, head for home. Okay, so I'm back at the car. Everything's packed away. Quite a few people fishing, spread out all along the beach. Haven't seen nothing caught this side. Well, where I actually fished was in the third bay along, as you can see, where the break in the fence is. I just spoke to those two guys there. One of them was someone I used to work with, previous job, and he's got his mate with him who's never caught a smoothhound. So we had a little jink around and adjusted his rig, set him up, got him cast out. Within 5 minutes he had his first hound. He's attached to his first hound. Unfortunately he lost it in the surf. It literally broke the hook link. So I've just set him up with a nice heavy duty rig, 60-pound body, 40-pound hook link, and we've got him fishing again. So fingers crossed he'll break his hound duck later on tonight. So yes, I've walked to the third groin along, and what I would say is, if you're fit and you travel light, if you carry on walking along that beach, and it's roughly around a kilometre, you'll be into the 6th groin, or the 6th bay, should I say. And that has always been a hot spot ever since I've been fishing along this coast. It is a 25-30 minute walk, so as I say, you do need to travel light, and it's best if you travel with someone as well. Safety in numbers. Failing that, if you just want to get out your car, walk down the slope, you can literally pitch up there right in front of the slope. No walking. plenty of room. It stretches all the way up there. We've got 7 bays to your right. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is head off home now. Give my gear a quick clean down. The rods and reels both get washed. Bait, any bait I've not used, still in the cool box. That go back in the freezer. And then we'll get set up and prepared for their next adventure. Thank you everyone for watching. Hope you've enjoyed that little hound fest. Certainly makes a change to rock up and everything to fall into place.